Keep it high, keep it tight, it's Jamarious Review Guy back to bring you another video. So if you are unfamiliar with this, which you probably shouldn't be by now, but if you're new to the channel, every single week on Sunday, except last week because Memorial Day kind of made them not do it, I review the newest episode of Fear the Walking Dead. So this is the penultimate episode of the first half of Fear the Walking Dead Season 4. We're talking about episode 7, entitled The Wrong Side of Where You Are Now. So, I like this episode. I think it set up a lot of things, but it's still frustrating not being able to get a lot of the questions answered, and you just know that it's all going to explode in the mid-season finale, and it's just going to be kind of frustrating to see it like that, and I would personally like if they would have done some throughout the season, but it's just, my opinion, sometimes bad storytelling because they're just letting it run its course so badly at this point to where they're flat out just Morgan being so meta and just saying this story's almost over, and it's kind of obvious what they're trying to do here, and it's obvious where they're taking this storyline. And one thing I gotta say is obviously we lose Mel in this episode, and to be honest, is it me, or does Fear the Walking Dead just have a big wheel of character names in every episode? They just kill off a big character. Maybe that's just me. But I think that I have to say that this whole half of Fear has pretty much been character deaths, character development, and setting things up. It doesn't seem like they're doing this with the intention of letting us know what's happening. They're not doing it with the intention of developing some of our older characters. It's more so they're trying so desperately to make us like these new characters that they introduced, them being John, Naomi, and Althea, and Mel if you count him and Charlie. But it seems like they're trying so hard to get us like these new characters, and they're whittling down these old characters, and it's very frustrating how this whole half is structured and how they're doing this. And like I said, I would have liked this half much more if they would have given it a little bit at a time. But still, I think that this was a good episode. I think that it was compact, but it was a little drawn out. We, of course, get the flashbacks with Nick, Madison, and all of them, and we get to... We're basically, one thing I have to say is, other than the zombies being let out into the stadium by Ennis, or Dennis, I believe his name is, we're pretty much exactly where we started when it comes to the characters themselves. One interesting thing is Morgan saves Charlie, and we can see in the preview for next week that Alicia is holding a gun to Morgan, and he was just saying, I was just trying to help a friend. So what's going to happen with that, we don't know. I'm personally very angry with how they are using Morgan this season, or at least this first half, and I feel like I'm missing the point of transferring him to Fear. It almost feels like they were just transferring him to Fear to transfer him to Fear. That storytelling-wise, from a perspective of trying to tell an interesting and intriguing story, we're not getting that much out of him being here, him being present. If they took Morgan out right now, it would do absolutely nothing. And that's how I feel about a lot of these characters. It seems like some of the newer characters are more important to the current story they're telling than some of our older characters. I mean, personally, I consider characters like Naomi and John to be more important to this whole overall plot, and a character like Charlie. Charlie, Naomi, and John seem more important to this entire plot than a character like Strand, or like Alicia, or like Nick. And it's, once again, I'm using this word so much this video, but it's frustrating how this whole thing is structured, and how these old characters are just in dormancy, whereas the newer characters are being overdeveloped, and they're trying so hard to get us to like them. Luckily for AMC, a lot of people are liking the new characters, but I want to see them change it up with the second half, and I can pretty much accurately predict what the next episode is going to be. This isn't spoilers, but it's going to be some big reveal, either Madison being alive or dead. It's going to be them struggling to save, John's life. And it's going to be pretty much the end of the Vultures, most likely, or at least probably most of them, because we know Ennis and Mel are dead, which were like the two leaders. And we're probably going to get some setup for what the next half is going to be, and it's going to be something dramatic about them, like driving off, or one thing I could see that I'd like to see, similar to what they did in season 2 with Lake Colonia and you had the two groups in different areas, basically. You had, like, Madison's group on, like, it was the hotel area, and then you had Nick and Luciana at the Lake Colonia, I believe it was called, and I could see them doing that, where they have Alicia, Strand, and Luciana on their own, and then they have, like, Morgan, Charlie, Althea, John, and Naomi in a going off. But Naomi seems to me like the type of character that is interesting, but maybe not the type of character you're going to keep around for a long time, because she just can't settle. I have to give it to the young actress that plays Charlie, Alexa Niesensen, I believe her name is. She did very good in this episode. I would like to see her upgraded to the main cast in the next half, because obviously we lost Nick, and we're probably going to lose someone else in the mid-season. Is it going to be Madison? I don't know. Maybe I should make a full video about Madison and talk about that, talk about her character. But this episode was fairly good. I think that it was well-rounded. I think that for what they were trying to do, they pulled it off well. But I am going to give it an 8 out of 10, because there's so much that I think they could have done better. And it was interesting how we saw the zombies released on the stadium, but overall it was a slightly slow episode, an episode that we got a lot of answers, but they also reiterated so much stuff that they had already talked about that is a little angering, I guess. But anyways, guys, this has been Jamarious Review Guy. I'd love to hear what you think of this episode. Go ahead and post the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys next time. But until then, farewell.
Oh no, what your mama gonna say when I tell her that I broke no heart? It's just things not the way that they used to be. Oh no, now you crying on the bathroom floor, and I guess it's the end. Well, I lost my mind and I lost my